Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. My name is Bakr Abdullah Amar Banno, and I'm happy to present to you our group project for system analysis and design. Our project title is Student Performance Tracking and Evaluation System. Our group members are myself, Majid Saleh Ahmed Bamshmous, Faisal Muhammad Mubarak Bakhala, Noreen Damia Binti Idris, Norina Farzana Binti Muhammad Saleh. Our system is built to track and evaluate students' performance. The school of Pecan High has ordered our company, Elite Tech, to develop a system that can record student performance and evaluation. So our team built a system that can allow teachers to upload and edit performance reports and allows the principal to view the overall class performance and allows the student to view their own personal performance reports and submit feedback regarding the teaching system. This is all with our introduction, and now we move on to the context diagram with Majid Saleh Bamishmus.
My name is Majid Saleh Ahmed Said Babishmous, and today I will briefly explain the context level data flow diagram for our student performance tracking and evaluation system, or we can call it SPTES. This system involves three main users: students, teacher, and the principal. Each user interacts with the system to track or update and evaluate student performance. A student can log in, track their evaluation, and receive their reports like personal performance and behavior notes, like we can see now. And also for teachers, provide classes-related data such as attendance, grades, behavior notes, and assessment results. They also receive reports to monitor student performance. The principal oversees overall class performance, behavior summaries, and student alerts, of course. They also send policy update when necessary. SPTES acts as a central platform that manages all data exchange, ensuring accurate tracking and timely feedback. And now we're going to continue, inshallah, with the use case diagram with Noreen and Norina.
For the use case diagram, there are three main actors involved: student, teacher, and principal. Student is related with the use case register, where student can create a new account to access the system. Student can submit feedback regarding their learning experience or system usage by using the use case submit feedback. To update student performance information like name and contact detail, student also connected with the use case update student information. The next use case is view performance report. Student and principal is connected with this use case. Both of the actors are allowed to view the academic performance report, but the only one use case that all actors are connected is login. All actors must log in to access the system feature, which includes an include relationship to verify the user role before allowing access of the system.
The other use case that link with teacher is record attendance, track student evaluation, record student behavior, and manage performance reports. The manage performance report use case includes alert notification and extend print reports. Finally, the manage feedback use case is linked with principal to gather and review comments or suggestions from users.
One of my sequence diagram is login. In this sequence, student, teacher, and principal can all perform the login process. The actor enter the login details through the login interface, and then the interface sends the login details to the login controller. The controller will check the ID, password, and role based on the user database. For the validation, if the ID, password, and role is correct, the system retrieves and verifies the user role whether they are student, teacher, or principal, and a confirmation message is sent back to the user. If incorrect, an error message is returning, like in the exception flow 1. Next is sequence diagram record attendance. This sequence diagram involves only the teacher. The teacher input class information into the attendance interface. The interface requires to verify the class ID via the attendance controller, and the controller checks the class ID in the attendance database. If the class ID is wrong, an error message is returning like exception flow 1. If correct, the list of students of that class is retrieved. Then, the teacher can record attendance by entering the attendance record. The system will track the record if the record is missing or not. An error message is shown like exception flow 2. If valid, the record is updated in the attendance database and a confirmation message is sent to the teacher indicating that attendance was successfully recorded.
This is the sequence diagram for the register use case. The actor is student. The lifeline is include registration interface, validate information, student records, and confirm information. The main flow is start with the student submit student information. Then the interface calls verify information, and if valid, the credential will be stored and sent to student record. Once stored, the approved credential will be sent to confirm information, and finally send confirmation message is triggered across all components back to the student. For the E1, if the required fields are missing, the empty required field will trigger the required field message and send an error back to user. And for the E2, if existing information is entered, the duplicate information will send an error duplicate message. Next, for the sequence diagram for update student information use case, the actor is also student. The lifeline is include profile interface, validate information, student record, and student confirmation, and confirm information. The main flow is start with the students submit their updated student information, then info will be passed for validation, and if valid, the system will perform update information, and upon success, information updated successfully will trigger and send confirmation message. For the exception flow, if invalid format is detected, the system will send a correction message. And for the alternative flow, if no data was changed, the system will detect the same information pop and send no change message.
Now let's look at the track student evaluation use case. In this scenario, the teacher or principal intends the process by selecting the track student evaluation feature. The evaluation interface then prompts for a specific student or class selection. Once the user submits their choice, a request is passed through the evaluation controller, which acquires the evaluation data from the evaluation database, and then if no records are found, an error message is displayed. This is exception flow E1. If record exists, the system returns and displays the evaluation data. There is also an alternative flow. The user can apply filters like subject or data range. These filters are processed by the controller and the filtered records are returned to be displayed. This use case helps educators monitor student progress efficiently and drill down into specific details when needed. Now with the second use case diagram or sequence diagram, which is student behavior record. Here, the teacher selects the option to record student behavior. The student behavior interface prompts for the class selection, and after submission, the student behavior controller fetches the student info from the student behavior database. If no student record is found, the system displays as an error, which is called like exception flow E1. If found, the interface will display behavior types and details prompts. The teacher can then submit the behavior entry, which is stored in the database. This process ensures the behavior records are accurately logged and easily trackable, supporting early intervention when needed. In summary, these diagrams show how our system provides a structured and reliable way to track academic performance.
I'm now going to talk about the sequence diagram, and I have made this or contributed in this side project two sequences diagram. First sequence diagram is the manage feedback sequence. This sequence diagram shows the process of a student managing their submitted feedback. It starts when the student clicks manage feedback and the system retrieves and displays their feedback list. The student can then view a specific feedback and choose to either edit it or go back. If they choose to edit, the system validates and updates the content. I also included two flow conditions. First one is the alternative one where the student views the feedback but doesn't edit and just returns. A second flow condition is execution one, where no feedback exists, and the system shows a message that like no feedback available to manage. Now I'm going to talk about the second sequence diagram, submit feedback sequence. This sequence shows how the student submits new feedback. Then the process begins with clicking submit feedback, which shows a form that students fills in subject and message and clicks submit. If both fields are filled, the feedback is stored and a confirmation appears. If both the fields are filled, if the form is incomplete, exception 1, the system prompts the student to complete all the fields. I also included alternative 1, where the student opens the form but decides not to submit and returns to the dashboard.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bakr Abdul Amar Bannoub, and I'm talking about my use case. The first use case is view performance report. Here, the actor is student. So here, the student choose a view person report. Then the system checks the validity of the report, and it displays the person report. There is an exception flow if there's a database error, and there's an alternative flow if there are no reports found. Okay, and the same sequence diagram is for the principal, but the difference is the principal can view the overall class report. Okay. For the second use case, we have managed performance report. The actor here is teacher. So in the basic flow, the teacher chooses to manage this report. Then the system displays the list of the students. He chooses the student, and then he chooses either to add or edit the report. Then he entered the grades, and then the student performance report gets displayed to the teacher. And here we have a different picture for the alternative flow. In the alternative flow, he can choose to edit. So editing is the same. It's just editing the grades. Okay. And for the invalid input, there's an exception flow for the invalid input. In the invalid input, if if the system checks the validity and it's error, it sends him an error message and takes him back to adding the grades. And that's it for my sequence diagram, and thank you very much.
For the first interface, this is a login page for the SPTES system. Here, the user is required to enter their ID, password, and also select their role, either as student, teacher, or principal, before they can proceed to their own dashboard. There is also a link for a new student to register an account. Next, for the record attendance page, this interface is specifically for teachers. Teachers can select the class ID from the drop-down menu, and based on the selected class, the list of students will appear below. Teachers can then tick the checkbox to mark the attendance for each student, and finally click the Save Attendance button to submit the record.
Next, for the user interface, the registration page will capture student full name, student ID, student email, password, and also confirm password. It will include input validation using the required attribute and style registration button to ensure readability and ease of use. Next, the update student information page is using the same design but focuses on editing student ID, student name, email, and phone number, and keeping the form short and simple. The user interface is responsive, user-friendly, and maintains visual consistency to enhance the user experience.
Now, let's look at the record student behavior process. It starts with the teacher selecting a class, then choosing a student. If the student record isn't found, an error is shown to help the correct selection. Once a valid student selected, teachers can choose a behavior type, category, and then enter details. After clicking Save Behavior, a confirmation page appears showing that the entry was successful. Record and added to the student record. This ensures accurate and trackable behavior logging in just a few steps. On the first page, teacher or principal can select a class and student to begin tracking. Once a student is selected and view evaluation is clicked, the second page shows detailed performance data, including average test score, assessment marks, attendance, and subject grades. This provides a clear, quick overview of student progress for better decision making. Thank you.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faisal Muhammad Mubarak Bakhal'a. My matrix number is CB24133, and today I'm going to talk about my concept solution of the UI in the SAT project. For the submit feedback UI, I designed a clean and responsive form where students can write and send their feedback. The form includes two required fields, subject and message. Once the student clicks submit on the system validates the input and if successfully displays a confirmation message that says feedback has been submitted successfully. The layout has a proper spacing on both sides to ensure reliability, and I applied a separate CSS file to keep the design consistent and professional.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bakr Abdullah Marbanoob, and this is my HTML interface. First of all, the view performance report interface, you can see the student can choose to view their personal academic performance report. And this is the message that they get if the load is success and there is no error in the database. And here they can check their marks, their current grade, their attendance rate, and the last updated date. Okay. As you can see, this is the grades, and this is the HTML and CSS of the interface. Okay. And now we move on to the second interface for the manage performance report interface. Here, the teacher can choose the students. Okay, as you can see, there are complete reports, draft reports, and reports that are not done at all. Okay, and he can choose to add or edit or view. Okay. So this is the interface inside. He can choose the grade, the numeric score, attendance rate, participation grade, and he can put a behavioral feedback. Okay, and then he can move on to the next step. The next step is this is the interface that he will get if there was an input error. Okay, and as you can see, it's this the information about the error is specific. Okay, and then we move on to the next step. He can add or edit the performance data. Assignment, midterm, final exam. He can put a note for areas of improvement, student strength, and finally the review and submit interface. As you can see, he can see all the things that he did, and then the submit successful message. Okay, and that's it for our project. And thank you very much, and have a nice evening.